Dr. Chase will now present to you a sort of a deeper dive into this healthcare arena.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. I realized yesterday on my way down, got an email from the Office of the National Coordinator saying that the president had declared this week officially Health IT Week. I believe that's the case. I went to see the signed statement on the web this morning, and I can't think of a better time to roll this out. After all those years of waiting, and I've been in the business a long time where computers, we hope that computers would help us, we're finally here. So just share with you a case I had as a resident 35 years ago. The patient had worsening muscle weakness, was bedridden, could no longer walk. She was in the hospital for several months. She was on the muscle service. They did muscle biopsies and nerve biopsies. They called me as the medical resident to do a consult. I'm still not sure why they called the kid to come up and do the diagnosis. It's partly that maybe they didn't know who else to call. And I remember distinctly she had 2 abnormal lab values and this symptom of myopathy. I really didn't know what was wrong with her. She came back to see me in the weeks that followed. I eventually figured out that she had a very rare form of rickets called vitamin D resistant rickets. And we figured that out, we treated her, and she got better. And I've carried this case around in my head for 35 years, always wondering if we could have gotten there faster. It was literally an elapsed time of 3 months by the time we figured out what was wrong with her. That's a long time, and it was a tremendous burden on the hospital, the cost to her, all the vibes, etc. So in the middle of the night, I woke up, I thought, God, what would Watson say to those 3 clues? So without telling the IBM team what I was doing, I'm a scientist, we can experiment. I gave them the 3 clues, which was myopathy, high or elevated alkaline phosphatase, or low phosphate. And the first 2 were, of course, the 2 likely diseases, hyperparathyroidism and rickets was right there. Hyperparathyroidism is a completely plausible explanation. It can be distinguished between rickets by a simple blood test. And what was mind-boggling to me, honestly, was down on the list was the mechanism by which she got the rickets, this very rare form of vitamin D resistant rickets, the hyperphosphaturia. And my point here is that when they called me, the muscle service, they called the kid to come and do the consult. If I had this sheet of paper with me, I would have known exactly what was wrong with her, and I would have had to order only 2 tests, both of which are probably the cheapest ones in the hospital. And by the next morning, we would have had a diagnosis. And we knew then what we know now in terms of those diseases. It just proved to me that Watson can find the information, not only the differential diagnosis, but also the mechanism.